So today's episode, Kristof Lindner, Maurice's neighbor and
That's right.
guru, wise guy, started multiple businesses, and he's going to tell us a little bit about them and then a little bit about life around that.
Yeah.
What'd you take out of it, Maurice?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the business side is one thing, right? But I think the habits that led him to get
Oh
there,
yeah, 100%.
to build up his business, to change his personal habits and his approach to not just life, because there was a big portion of life in there, and that was the actual initial kickoff where he found his first online marketing funnel. But also then, okay, how do you translate that in different areas? Being what he talked about, being better friend, better father, better a lot, right? Like different categories. I thought it was super interesting from that perspective. And then obviously, just for all the online marketers and business people out there, like how do you get your digital company started, right? And market a digital product. That was an interesting bit as well. And then we went crazy at the end and went left and right or right or left. And
as always, gets a little crazy in there. So
super interesting, super fun. And we are so happy to have had Kristof on. And well, now it's time for you to watch and listen to it, right? Have fun with it. All right, dear guys, let's get it started then, right?
Because really, what could go wrong once you press record, right?
Exactly, what could go wrong? It's all got to be very perfect. All right, dear esteemed Crazy Podcast viewers, this is another episode of so-called Crazy People Podcast. I hope you're sitting back, you have your drinks ready, and you're ready to listen or watch, depending on which channel you're using, to this episode today. I'm first going to introduce my dear colleague, Mr. Russ from who's
Howdy, everybody.
Based, as always, out of Louisville. And then the esteemed guest today is Mr. Kristof Lindner.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. My name is Kristof Lindner. I'm an online marketer. I have a company with who sells supplements that was growing for quite a while now. I could tell a little bit of story about that, how you do that. And actually, what I started just recently is I started an academy that helps people to do their first approaches online, to start the first online business.
So maybe we just start with some of the basics, right? How did you get here? What's your origin story? Like where did the impetus to start that first company come from?
So I did a normal studies. I studied chemistry actually, because I wanted to do something for the environment back then. And then because of personal development of my personal life, I had to change things. I had to start something new. And I found actually a very interesting thing in 2008. 2008, I found my first funnel online. Back then, the internet was more like a big round of a lot of websites that were more big cards, like big portraits of people, like telling who they are, what they can offer. That were not really like made for customers to do something specific. And that one was fascinating, actually. It was a page where you did not have anything to do at. The only thing you could do at actually was to give in your email address. And it said, you will learn this and that if you follow this path and give the email address. And it looked weird. It looked like scam because in 2008, you never would see a page like that. But I put in my email address. I found actually good information to that subject that I was very interested in, followed that whole path and became a member of a little group or movement, or let's say, and I found it so interesting that I wanted to start the same thing in German as well. So the interesting thing about it is actually that back then the topic was actually how to date girls. That was a topic I was interested in back then.
Yeah.
So it helped me actually with information, ebooks, and video courses where someone talked about how you could approach girls and how you could make yourself a masculine personality and how you you could date the other sex.
Mhm.
And that was very helpful, actually. And I thought, especially here in Germany, where we have a lot of shy guys, this would be a nice thing for us here too. And I knew back then I had like 10 grand on my bank account. I had saved that up for in the years before. And that guy that talked about online dating, actually, he sent all these newsletters about this topic. And then one day he said, actually, my name, I have a different name. This was all a pen name I used for giving you all this information about dating. My actual name is this and that. And I created an online business with $10 million in revenue. And I can teach guys how to do that in any other topic as well. And I will invite everyone who's interested to a seminar here in Los Angeles. And that seminar was actually 10 grand in US dollar. And from the exchange rate, I could see, okay, from the 10 grand I had, I could pay also the flight and hotel. And I flew out to that person, learned everything from him, how he did his funnel thing, which was actually back then pretty new. I had never seen anything like that. In America, this whole scene of creating like little funnels where you give in your email address and sell the product was just growing back then. And I flew home with a license deal with this person, and then actually sold his dating advice products in Germany. That was my first business, 2008.
Interesting.
And from that on, he recommended me actually to other people. Other people got were interested in us, who also sold ebooks about other topics in English on the US market. And so we were invited to a lot of fitness persons, and then we made a lot of license deals. I got a partner then back then that made a lot of license deals and started selling a lot of fitness products, actually, about diet, about how to build muscle. That was the first one, actually. And and that developed actually in a supplement company. That is what we have now. I have a second thing that created that was built by that, because we didn't have a good payment processor for all our online sales that we were making. So we created our own company that does the online payments for our company now, but is also doing it as a service for other companies. And and then just recently, I had the feeling that I would like to show other people how easy it can be to start with an information that you have in your hand, to start an online business with it and sell it as an ebook, or sell it as a video course, or sell it as a coaching product. And there are actually like specific steps you have, or you can follow to create a funnel and have actually from your home, from your living room, a nice smooth business that can feed you and make you very happy and give you all the freedom that you would like to have.
What is interesting is the mix of products that you're offering, right?
Yeah.
It seems to be like a wide range that more or less are disconnected from each other. So are you utilizing just the know-how of marketing, and you market whatever comes across and looks like it's a profitable business? Or do you have a specific choice when you're selecting the products that you're going to take on?
Actually, I think the best fitting products would any kind of advice giving products, any kind of teaching products, because the marketing we use is very story based. We use storytelling marketing for it. But I think you can use it as a tool for selling many products that are out there. As you can also tell a nice story about like tables, let's say, or then most of the customers we have in our academy are people who have their own story about, for example, I'm thinking about a guy, he quit smoking, and he thinks he has a nice way of how to quit smoking, because he tried out a lot of different methods and he found one that really works, and he had helped his friends to quit smoking, and he wrote an ebook about it, but he had no idea of how to sell it. So we could help him a little bit, build a funnel, build a nice web page, build a story around it, have his own payment processor so he doesn't have to put it on Amazon. Amazon takes a lot of money and you don't have the marketing in your own hand. I don't think it's a good idea to sell your books on Amazon because you have much more freedom and much more possibilities to market your product if you have your own landing page and your own payment system on it. You can use it for very different products, knee bandages, all kind of health products. You can think about, but I think also you can use it, like we had one who sold actually, what's the word, like the fish baits.
Yeah.
And we helped him sell his fish baits online.
So from that perspective, what would you say in terms of what are the traits that are making you successful? Is it the know-how and the knowledge that you have, or are there other traits where you say, all right, the know-how and all of that is just one part of the cake, right? Another slice of the cake to get there is really the persistence, is really being open to different products or different processes and so on. So what would you say is the unique trait to you that enables you to really run your business the way that you do?
I think it's discipline. It's discipline and experience done with discipline. So I don't think I'm smart or something, and I don't think people who like want to learn from us how to build their first funnel and how to build their online business have to be like smarter than others or something, or have to bring other skill sets than others. But what you have to do is, like, you have to push through, and you have to maybe have a healthy lifestyle, and you have to have a healthy way of approaching things, because things can get tough. And it's not like so easy that you don't have to do anything. Like, you have to work on it. If you don't work on it, you will not make it. And I see that thing that some people are used to and are disciplined to do things and on a regular basis, and they're disciplined, but also not only in putting effort in things, but also to achieve goals. They have the experience that if I do something and work it up until the end, that I achieve something, and also take the fruits from it that work out. Some people actually teach themselves how to fail, how to, in the end, maybe when they're almost finished, they quit, because they don't want to do the last steps. They don't want to fight the last dragon that stands in the way to achieve their goals. So I would actually say it's discipline, and discipline turns into habits. And if you have good habits, your habits should actually be good not only in your work area, but also in the other areas of your life. Mm-hmm. Then that's the best, actually.
So what are some of the habits that you created for yourself? So are you working, are you achieving a certain volume of tasks that you have to fulfill on a daily basis? Or what is your goal setting look like? Or what is your approach?
Actually, I think when I started out, there were interesting things that I did to change my personality into something that was more productive and that could achieve more. Actually, now my habits are fine, but I'm actually in a pretty comfortable situation. I don't have to work as much anymore as I had back then when I started out. I have kids now. I have like the perfect relaxation, the perfect balance that I didn't have when I was single. Like, I was single and I had bad habits. Like, I drank a lot. I didn't work out. I didn't eat healthy. I wasn't used to set a goal and pursue it. So like, do you really want to know what I do now, or is it maybe interesting also, like, how to start out? Like, what shall we talk about?
I think it's more how you started out, because it's more interesting for people to see what your journey was, because we are and we get to the crazy part of all of this, right?
Yeah.
But you need to have a certain approach to get there, and so there's the steps to take. I think that is great information for our viewers or listeners to hear and see what it is that you took, or what it is that you did to actually get there, right?
Okay, so let's get a little bit crazy. So what I did back then, what helped me the most, what I would recommend everyone who's open for things like that. Like, some people are not open to do some like things that are out of the box, or not the ordinary. What I would think, what is the most important thing is, like, dividing your life in areas. Like, typical would be like the work area, the family area, the friends area, the hobby area, something like that. If you're spiritual, add in spiritual area to it, and then write down what you want to be in that area. You could write down, for example, in your in your friends area. I want to have X many friends. I want them to call me and I will call them. We have a good connection, and I want to have more invitations and I can follow up with, and I want to be liked by everyone and respected by everyone, like things like that. You write it down, just like the ideal situation that you think that you want to be in, you know? And then you just put it away and let it like do the magic. You know? That's step one. You know? And you should rewrite it actually. Like once you maybe have done these little these other things also that I would mention, and it starts to create a journey for you. You could then review it on a regular basis, maybe once a year, twice a year, and see what you maybe actually achieved. And the things will change also. You will see, okay, this was a good idea to have it look like this, but maybe now I think the ideal situation is a little bit different. I want to refine it. I want to put more colors to it here and there. Yeah, that is step one. Then step two would be to answer some questions, like write it also down, answer some questions. And I had 77 questions that I answered, and I still like to read it myself because it was helpful for me to get perspective, to get the right mindset when I started out. And those questions, like I cannot recite them all here, but the first question, for example, is it was by Einstein, I think, asked it the first time: is the universe a friendly place? And this question, like you can write it down, and it will show what you think about the world. No? Mm-hmm. The next question is like, am I cause or am I an effect? Am I responsible, or is anyone else responsible for my life? Like some questions are easy, but for example, the question, is the universe a friendly place? Is a question. If you think the universe is a place of hardship, and a lot of like aliens out there, or a lot of like bad energy out there that wants to harm you, and you have to fight for living. That's a different approach to life than if you think, no, the universe is a friendly place, and maybe any harm or damage I had in my life was maybe like bad luck, or like things out of control, actually out of the normal situation. And the normal situation is that we are in a flow, that everything is fine for us, that everything, even if I make mistakes, in the end everything will turn out well for me. So also how you see these questions, how you answer them. You can answer all those questions and then review them also after half a year, maybe a year. You will see, okay, how your things shift, how just thinking about this question makes you think differently in some parts, because people have really bad mindsets about things. Like it's hard. They really stand in their own way a lot.
Yeah. So how do you make sure that you're translating those beliefs, the answers to the 77 questions, into actual real action? Because sometimes I think I believe something and I'll say it to you, and then I'll go and do the opposite, right? I'll tell you, hey, man, it's really great to eat a lot of vegetables, and then I'll go have potato chips.
Yeah.
How do you translate the belief into action? Or for you, as you were starting out, how did you make sure that those 77 questions turned into actual things?
Yeah. Setting goals is good. Then you just have to write down some goals, put timestamps on it, and try to like follow that as best as you can. And then we have this whole thing about how to what's the word? Like how to get into the habit that you like that you benefit from achieving goals. Like whenever you achieve a goal, you have to celebrate it. If you celebrate it, your body will understand, okay, if I achieve goals, it's good for me. But then and setting goals, there are many information about how to set goals actually out there. You can actually type it in Google, and you will find a lot of website that will tell you, no, they need to be measurable, this and that and that. You can try it out, but I think it's very individual for people. Like some people are better off writing goals that are in a year time frame. Some people are better off writing like the big goals. I want to be a billionaire. I want to have this and that. And you need something you are drawn to. And that is then again, this is this crazy weird thing about discipline and how to get yourself motivated. I think it's a tough area. You need to find ways for yourself how to get motivated and how to set goals and how to follow them. And it has something to do with your habits. Like you have your exact at the moment habit situation. So you are able to produce this amount of of value in the health area, for example. No? If you don't eat vegetables, it's your habit to don't eat vegetables. But if you know if it's good for you, you should maybe try a vegetable once a week. And if you put it in your diet once a week, that's a start. If you can manage to do that and celebrate it. You do it once a week, then maybe you can give yourself a nice little treat, no, after you've done that. And then you can work up from there. Some people can get faster, some people get slower. Like I've tried to motivate people. I have people in my surrounding where I have the feeling they could really benefit from some goal setting and from some change in their life. But if I talk to them, they don't change. They don't do it. They don't make it. Like you have to have your own motivation. And if you're motivated, if you're motivated to change something, to do something, yeah, actually goal setting is not that complicated. Just write some goals down. I wouldn't even say you can make a big mistake with it. You have to find your own way of how far away they should be, how achievable they should be, if it's fun for you. If you set goals that you don't achieve after a while, it was the wrong approach, maybe, yeah? Because you didn't have any time to celebrate and you feel demotivated. So you need to make maybe smaller goals. You know?
What is one of the goals that you want to share that you didn't achieve? If you want to share some, but anyway, to share some, you can also go on a positive and say, "Hey, that is a goal that I never thought I'd get there," and eventually it was super easy to get there because once I started with it, I kind of eased into the concept of whatever I had to do to get there and so on.
Also one goal I achieved and more than ever was actually a financial goals or all the financial goals I had. I was not a rich student. I thought when I had $2,000 a month, I would be happy and rich and be the happiest guy in the world. And then actually when my business took off, it was more like I'm not the richest person in the world, of course, but I have the money thing a little bit solved. I have enough money for the life I need. I can go eat out whenever I want. I can buy things like whenever I want. We even there, at first I started out when I thought I need 2,000 euros a month. Now I have a family with 3 kids. I have a big house. Like the kids go to a private school. Like 2,000 euros are just the beginning of the month, let's say. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's easily spent. So that was actually and the freedom you can achieve if you have your own business and if you have made your business into an automatic machine, if you have people run your business for you, it's unbelievable. Yeah? You cannot compare that to a life being an employee in a company and need to achieve the goal someone set for you.
Yeah.
And then other things, of course, what I did not achieve was I'm not a billionaire yet. Like I maybe had this kind of fantasy. I could be like rich endlessly. Of course, I'm not endlessly rich. Or I wanted, like, one of my companies, I really wanted to become bigger and much more successful, but it did not work out. You know? But this is learning how to stand on your ground, like be humble, not become too crazy, and see also that the magic, I'm always like this magic thing about setting goals, changing habits, changing your personality, achieving things. It's not endless. It also has its limits, and normal life also comes to you and normal circumstances and things and a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of luck, or you see that maybe in hindsight. Also, you had some luck. Yeah. There are also chances that come your way. Maybe some people get bigger chances than others, I would say. But it's not super fair. It's not all like super kind of happy, God is giving you everything if you just think about it, way.
Yeah. Let's shift gears a little bit, because I know that Russ is actually urging to ask you some more of the technical questions. So this is all the side of the self-motivation and the self-drive and being an entrepreneur at the end of the day, right? And managing your life and managing your business. Now, since you are that online marketing guru in a way, right? There's a couple of things that are happening right now in the world out there that I find super interesting, but that I also hear that a lot of people are threatened by that, right? Let's start off with the easiest one. It's if you use Google, SEO and all these, there's algorithms and so on, and it's getting tougher and tougher to get through them, to really understand them, especially for us in our business, right? We have the algorithms of YouTube, we have the SEO algorithm. So there's a lot in this potpourri of things that we have to monitor. So how do you stay current? How do you or your team manage to monitor what's going on in that environment and stay current?
Yeah. In my eyes, the old search engine optimization follows your ad strategy. Like what is not possible now anymore is like have a website, optimize it somehow for search engine optimization things, and then pop up at the first 10 results of Google in some area. That's a tough thing to achieve. That was maybe 10 years ago that you could achieve, and there was something worth pursuing for because you get free traffic from that. Now the thing is different. Actually, once you've raised your page to a level that it gets a lot of traffic from all your paid sources, then the search engine optimization follows it. So Google will somehow see that site, will somehow be noticed by that website, as will notice the website and put it also higher in the ranking of the normal search questions. But I think definitely if you want to sell something, do not think that if you just put it somewhere, if you put it in the Google index, if you put it on Amazon, that anyone will find it. It's too much out there, much too much. It's the situation totally changed. Even if you have the best product, no one will know about it, no one will buy it, and no one will also ever make it like viral by itself. Like you need to have a marketing strategy for it, definitely. You know? But then that is also not so difficult to do. You know? That's the good side of it, because I would say focus on something. You know? Don't do all at once. Of course, you like if you think about I need to do something new, TikTok marketing, I need to do my social media campaigns and the ad campaigns here and there. That's all too much. That is not something you can achieve if you start out. If you have a big marketing team, you can do that, but not if you are just starting out and you want to have your first traffic source that generates profitable sales. You know? So what I think is still the best way of how to start out is with Google Ads. Google Ads is easy to start with, and you actually can easily target people who are looking for your service. You know? Mm-hmm. And yeah, we have good experience with our beginners start with Google Ads. We have not so good experience actually with starting all the social media hype and social media stuff. Also, everyone wants to do it. I don't recommend it. I wouldn't do it. It's a waste of a lot of effort, money, and time. You know, if you want to do that. If you have a service, I would say make a good ad on Google. Try out also this easy thing how Google actually helps you by you still have the system where you have a little headline and then 2 lines below it. Like that's the easiest thing how to build an ad. But then you can tell Google to make variations of like 3-4 headlines and some more combinations of sentences that you put below it. No? And then from that on, actually, if you have a good eye, you can start out with things. You can make Google, make your research machine also which angles triggers your audience. Yeah, what works, like what subject, what words trigger click rates, and from that on, you can also better your landing page to fit that and to have a better conversion. In the end, the game is played at the conversion level, because traffic you can somehow buy. Some traffic is more expensive, some traffic is cheaper. What you have to do is you have to have a good funnel that converts your traffic, your viewers, into buyers. And once that works, then you have a scaling, you have a new level. Yeah? You need to scale it. But first step is to get the first ad spend that you have profitable.
Fantastic. What do you think of tools like ChatGPT and all of those tools that are coming out there?
Amazing. We are doing our first, we're making our first experiences with it. They are amazing. So we will see a different way of how to market in the future. It is changing everything. Because what you can do now is with a few good prompts, you can actually have a good analysis of your audience and of what is actually already interesting to them right now. Like there are prompts where you can make the KI write your own ads for you, and then you can tell the AI make it more emotional or make it more appealing to the people, make it more like this. You can give them examples, like make it more like that. It is amazing. Like I've seen guys work in areas, for example, an employee, he started out in another company. I'm invested in it. It does medical products or medical services, let's say. And he's a marketing guy. He was actually helping me out at the academy. He started in that company and he created with a few prompts, he created like a new funnel, a new strategy, a new like text for a new landing page, a whole new thing. And that, like the others at that company, it's a small company, but they were blown away. They didn't know that could possibly happen. And there were people working there 3-4 years and they couldn't have come up with that. It is amazing. Like
I think so. I think so too. It's ridiculously crazy when you see what the development is, right? It started off with text. Now you also have graphics where they generate graphics that you cannot distinct from the original, right?
Yeah.
So that is a bit of a challenge from a societal perspective, but from a business perspective, I think it's super interesting. Russ, as somebody in the internet security business that you are, how do you see that side of the story?
Yeah, I think it's actually quite interesting as you applied what people call AI. It's sort of a predictive text generator and predictive index or image generator and stuff like that. I think the scary part, though, and maybe Kristof, you have an opinion about this. The scary part is that it can be really easy for me, if I'm a bad guy, to go, Kristof, and look at your businesses and go, hey, let me copy some of this and throw it into the AI generator and generate some stuff out and scam people out of stuff and get them to send me money just because it looks like it's a reliable product like yours are. But nefarious actors, it makes it easier to be a bad guy faster, I think. What do you think?
Totally. I would think so too. So that's a total different thing. Like I said, AI is actually very useful as a tool to start out and create marketing pieces. Yeah, as you said, like pictures, text. But there's this web page. There's an AI for anything.com or something it's called. And you have a lot of kind of different services where AI can help you now. No? And it's cheap. It's unbelievable cheap. Like we use a picture generator now. I think it costs like $10 a month or something, for getting access to unlimited pictures. We can create pictures without end any day. It's amazing how to deal with all the bad sides of KI, and I think it's dangerous. I'm not sure. Like that's a different part. That's not the marketing part. Now I would say don't copy things from others, but that people in marketing model things that they see that are working out there. That was always the case, and copying was possible like a year ago, and it's made easier by KI. That's true, but somehow, make sure your content is still unique and you give your own vibe to it. And don't copy other people's marketing. Try to understand what's working. Try to decompose it. Like funnel hacking, try to understand what's working on and then use it as a model for making your own thing out of it. Totally. And KI is, I don't know, like I have the feeling you can much easier, generate text that are influencing people, and that can be used by good guys, but also, of course, of bad guys. I mean, we know that like countries want to have political influence into elections of other countries. I think that is made easier. And I don't know how dangerous and how bad it's all going to be, but it's powerful and it will change us. And we will have to deal with it, just as with social media. We all know social media is bad for us. There are studies everywhere that shows you the more time you spend on social media, the less actual real friends you have and the less happy you are. So every hour you spend on Facebook makes you less happy. Everyone knows it. Still, most of the people do it. I mean, 20 years ago, everyone was watching TV. We all knew watching TV is bad. Still, people did it. Now we have to, like, I have kids. I have to tell my kids, do not watch too much TV. Do not do too much social media. We have to also teach them how to understand what are good news, what are fake news, what are right news, and to somehow, I think it will become much more important to be able to understand that information might sound very plausible, but you have to understand what's behind that information. There's this book, How to Read a Book. I've heard of that. That's also a little crazy thing here. Huh? That's I don't know, like a 100 of pages book where an author explains how you should read information, how you should read a book, and you should understand what was the intention of the author behind it. What was the experience? What was the situation? And why did that person write the book in the first place? So, because nothing is unintentional, and we, like, our kids will have to be much more careful of how to be influenced. What do people want from you, and what is really making them happy? If the marketing becomes better, also we have to protect our kids from only consuming. Marketing means consuming. So I have to teach them also. I mean, I'm a marketer myself, but of course it's my job somehow to sell products. But I wouldn't say in the end, on an ethical point of view, that like it's not only good. Good marketing is not only good.
Yeah.
Good is to have friends and to have a good evening in good company. That is actually good. To sit around a fire with no screen time. That is, I think, those in that direction goes what is good for us. KI is definitely a thing that we have to think about.
Yeah. And the non-screen time, I think that we are struggling collectively on making sure that our kids somehow manage that, right? Or that if they have screen time, they use it for their benefit, right? As an educational purpose.
Yes.
So that's how we try to direct it into there. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, the weirdest thing to me is when you see two friends who are sitting next to each other, like out in the park, and they're both playing the same game. They're playing with each other on their phones, not looking at each other, not talking to each other, but playing the same game with each other just while they're next to each other. Very strange society we live in.
Yeah, but at least they're sitting next to each other and they're playing the same game, right? It could be also true that they both play a different game, right? And it's like it beats all purpose. Where they're like, why have you met in the first place? Because you're not even interacting with each other, right? As long as they play the same game, they could maybe even talk about the game or whatever, right? And obviously, I have a lot of nerd friends who I know that scenario, right? But the situation where you just sit next to each other, you just share room, and that's all you share, right? It's different. It's different.
Yeah, my wife and I, when we go out to eat, we play the game of the relational situation of all the other people at all the other tables around us in the restaurant. You figure out which couples are both on their phones, staring at the phones, not at each other. Which couples don't have any phones out on the table, and they're just sitting there talking to each other. And you go, oh, okay, they're not going to last. Oh, but that looked good over there, right? You can judge almost by their device a little bit about the state of their lives.
Yeah.
There's also those couples that don't talk at all, right?
Yeah.
They just look at different directions with a mean face on. That's like, wow. And I'd rather be on a phone, right?
It's true. Some older couples, they don't talk to each other anymore. It's weird. It's also crazy. You don't want to end up in a situation like that, maybe.
I mean, I've been on a 1 week business trip with one of the Finns, Russ, from our employee, and I sat with him for hours at different events, and he wouldn't talk, right? I mean, it's a Finnish person, right? And then he got up and he gave me a little nudge on the shoulder and was like, Maurice, this was a great day. I had so much fun with you. And I was like, we didn't talk. What's going on with you? But for him, it was perfect, right? He enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, it's also about personalities. Listen, Kristof, looking back, if you could jump back in time and talk to your 16-year-old self, what would be the advice that you would give that young Kristof?
The advice I would give the young Kristof?
Yeah.
Like in my individual situation, my personal situation, I would say like not be too shy with girls back then. I was really bad with girls when I was 16, and I was spending a lot of time on my computer. I was a little nerdy, and I would love to have like not middle in his 20s Kristof to change his habits a little bit, but maybe to have the 16-year-old Kristof to change his habits a little bit. Because have less screen time, set your goals early, like think about what you want, think about what you really want, and don't think about what your friends want from you and what your parents want from you. What do you want? And then I wonder if that's maybe a little bit too much for some 16-year-olds. Like that also has to develop, of course. So, but I think it's a lot. There's a lot possible. Like I had times when I was 16, when I think back, when I was sad, when I thought, oh, there is this girl, I can never reach out to her, and these other things I have, it's also bad. And the other people, they are lucky, they get the right girl, or they have the better sport events, or they have the better friends or whatever. And I think it's not about luck. It's something like you can create anything you want. If you just work on it, you can create any life that you want. Like Steve Jobs said, like he said, the world around us was made by people who thought about it, who wanted the world to look like it looks now. So it was an imagination, a vision of people. You don't need an intellect, you don't need any other things, just to go for it. And you can reach anything, you can do anything.
That's the second time in 2 episodes that Steve Jobs has been quoted as a motivational source.
Maybe the most quoted guy, actually, or isn't he? Like Steve Jobs was an inspiration.
But it's just that, just that idea that it's the people who actually think about it and do it and are a little bit, the society sees it a little bit crazy. They're the ones who change the world. And I think that's what you're advocating there, which I 100% agree with, is that you got to be a little bit different than the average, but you can make anything you want to make. Just go and do it.
Yeah, I mean, Musk is a good example, right? He's an absolute weirdo, and there's a lot of things wrong with him, but boy, has he changed the world, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, with a number of products, actually.
True. And do you know Jim Rohn? Jim Rohn is also one of my most listened to person who gives all of kind of life help advice. And he has this one talk where he talks about that people have laid out also a life for you. Like, let's say someone wants to live your life in the metaverse, let's say, and he wants you to spend a lot of time on the screen and with vision goggles and whatever. So that is their way of how they think that you should live. But I think we all should be able to make our own vision of how we want to live. Do we want to have a lot of goggles on our eyes? Do we want to live in the metaverse instead of like sitting maybe with real friends and real people around? And also metaverse is a big story. It has good sides, I think. It has bad sides. It's how you use it a little bit. And Jim Rohn says, like, if you think like it's all luck and you don't take it in your own hands, maybe all the other people have not think of, like, they didn't have much for you in their world. So most of the people who change the world and who do things, they think actually, they think wide and they think for the society, but in the end they think for themselves. Like, your other people have these ideas, and if you don't do it yourself, build your own vision of how everything can become, maybe it's not much that is left actually with all the visions that others generated for you. It's not enough.
All right, gentlemen. Kristof, I thank you so much for coming on and blessing us with your time.
Great stuff.
And sharing a lot of your wisdom. I'm pretty sure that our viewers and listeners will have a great time following your advice. And let's see, maybe one of them, 2 of them actually change their ways. Maybe it's one of us, Russ. What about?
Absolutely. I'm in.
So thanks a lot for coming on. Have a great evening, and talk to you soon. All right.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristof.
Bye-bye.